Hi, my name is James Brown. I'm a 28-year-old working at a technology company for the past few years, and I use Target Test Prep for the last few months or so before taking my GMAT. I decided, during COVID that pursuing my MBA would be a solid route to gain just better soft skills and leadership and just general business skills. And when I first started studying for the GMAT, I figured I'd spend, large chunks of my time focused on studying, and quickly realized that method wasn't going to work for me, just simply because of, my work schedule and just other, commitments that I had throughout my life. So I needed to find a really good, essentially, course to help me study, in smaller chunks. My goal initially going into this was to score above a 720. And my first diagnostic, I think I scored in the low 600s or so. And then about a week or two later, I tried a second practice test, scored in the high 500s. So clearly I needed some help. So I bounced around a couple different, trials of different courses that are out there. And eventually a friend recommended Target Test Prep. And, he had said that, Target Test Prep helped him score really, really well on his GMAT. And he actually eventually ended up going to Chicago Booth. So I took his advice and kind of looked into Target Test Prep. And what I really, really liked initially at first was that they were kind of born, as a software platform, right? They're SaaS based in the sense that I would pay a relatively small monthly fee, for their service. And I quickly realized how wonderful that could be, not necessarily because of the small price, but because how their entire platform is built kind of natively or digitally. And so you get really great features such as like data analytics tracking. So their platform literally tracks every single question that I had, practice question that I took, and assigned and categorized those types of questions into what areas of focus I needed to work on, especially for quant, but also for the verbal section as well. So it was really, really nice, being able to focus, using Target Test Prep to be able to focus on the areas that I really needed to work on. And when I first started taking it, it was definitely quant. Verbal, my practice test I scored fairly well on. It was quant that I needed a lot of work for. And it wasn't necessarily like it was difficult concepts so much as I just didn't know how to approach the problems for quant in the most efficient manner. So Target Test Prep really, really excels in not only teaching you how to take the quant and do the actual problem, but how to do it extremely efficiently. And so that was really, really beneficial. Like I mentioned before, I also really liked how it's a self-study program. So someone like me who has a really busy job, I wasn't able to dedicate, 2-3 hours a day to study. It's not like I had just come out of college. So it was really nice to literally, spend as much time as I could on a daily basis doing small chunks at a time. And this was anywhere from like 15 to 30 minutes of work all the way up to like 2 hours of work a day. And so that kind of was really, really beneficial for me. To be able to feel confident that I got a good, amount of work done, even if it was only for 15, 20 minutes a day. I was also really, really impressed with how Target Test Prep organizes their quizzes and question banks. The way that they segment the easy, medium, and hard questions really helped me understand what types of problems I'd see on the real GMAT. And so by the end of the studying and by the end of the whole curriculum, I was able to clearly recognize what concepts the questions were asking and how to best approach them in the quickest manner possible. Now, this is incredibly important when you're taking the GMAT because you really only have about 2 minutes per question, probably a little less, to be able to answer the question. So you have to do it in the best manner possible to get to the answer as quickly as possible. And lastly, something that I think gets really overlooked in a lot of these GMAT prep courses is kind of the intangibles. And what I mean by that is Target Test Prep has a whole chapter dedicated to strategy of how to mentally approach the test. So, they have, advice on how to kind of mentally prepare day of, week of, what to do in like the month leading up to the test, how many practice tests to take and kind of how to space them out. And also, day of, what goes everywhere from like what to eat for breakfast, how to, like approach the test center. So one of the tips that they had given me was to listen to your kind of favorite pump up songs leading up to the test. And I actually did that. And I remember kind of when I sat down for the test being almost amped and like really excited to like get this thing done and score really, really well on it. And so, all those tips, the concepts I learned throughout the entire curriculum where I was studying for months before, leading up to the test, using Target Test Prep's material, helped me score, above a 720. I ended up scoring a 740. I honestly cannot thank Target Test Prep enough. I cannot recommend it highly enough. And I have been recommending it to all of my friends. So, again, thank you, Target Test Prep. It was a great experience, and I do highly recommend them.